Hey everybody, this is Brandon, RPG Overviews. This is Hyena Child we're going to be taking a look at. This is from Gazer Press, Marcus Shelta, who I've done videos on his products before. I've enjoyed his work. I do believe this is his best thing he's created so far. It's definitely one that's more, something that I'm even more interested in than some of his other stuff. Mainly because this gets you out of Western Europe and into the desert and the port city of Alexandria in Egypt in 1632. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. It's got a lot of content going for it. It's 200 pages, which of those 200 pages, I will be spoiling it, so don't watch this video in case you may play it. And it's for 5 PCs, levels 1 to 4, compatible with limitations of the Flame Princess or other OSR rule sets. It has 28 detailed locations and an 8-level dungeon with 5 full adventures. It's got so much more going for it. There are some things I wish were a little bit different with it, that I would, just some missed opportunities here and there. But ultimately, I can just feel the progression that he is growing and getting even better at what he does. And so let's go ahead and take a look at it. The art is interesting. Once again, he's using the same artist. And all his books kind of have the same kind of look to them, but the layout and just the overall look of this, I think, is superior to the other ones. I also didn't see any typos, issues like that. I did see one issue, I think, with maybe a map wasn't labeled the same as where it was supposed to be in the description, but that's fine. It was very easy to figure out what it was saying. And in a book like this that has so many moving pieces with it, I'm amazed I didn't find a lot more. So, yeah, here's your table of contents here. And it's going to start off with a campaign explaining to you it is an open-ended sandbox campaign. Yes, it is very much. Now, you could just run this as a straight dungeon crawl, almost like a barrow maze or something like that. But what its strength is, the real strength of this campaign here is how all the adventures are kind of interlinked and they all kind of work together. This is a product that I would say is easy for new people because it's going to tell you the city, it's going to tell you locations, and it's going to give you some places and adventures you can do. But the real skill of this book is intertwining all that stuff. On top of being extremely strong with two things: dungeon crawl, normal just encounters and exploration, but then it's also heavy on role playing if you want it to be. It doesn't have to be, but it can be extremely heavy on role playing. And to me, that's what really makes a great, I would say adventure, but this is a campaign. That's what makes a great campaign, is if you can intertwine all those things, and I think he's done it here fantastically. And so it's going to explain to you kind of how some stuff works. Maybe you should do this adventure before the other adventure because some stuff's going to change in it. And it is kind of like a living city with a living kind of, factions and stuff like that going on for it. There is a PDF. You can get the map online because the map, unfortunately, in here, the way it's placed is a little hard to see in the middle where the pages come together, but it's fine. You don't need anything really in that middle. And you should go get that PDF if you're going to pick this up anyhow. So, yeah, it's going to have some neat stuff here. So your first home in Alexandria, kind of like your base, you're going to have a couple choices here, and they're going to give you a benefit. I think that's really neat. Like this place here, the inn is run by a master thief. Or this place here, the Venetian court, the merchants have excellent contacts with the governor. So that can be helpful. You may need to roll up some reasons or come up with some reasons why you've come to Egypt. You need to have some pretty good time records, and then what your party composition is. And it's going to break into what's happening with Alexandria in 1632. This is a city on the decline, in essence. And underneath the city is chock full of mummies, which people are using to create a drug. And there's obviously a lot more to it going in, and it's very interesting to read this so you can understand the power struggles that's happening in the city, and the kind of the corruption that's happening all throughout it. And the faction section is strong. It's definitely one of the stronger sections of the book. Here's your map. That's kind of like I was saying there. It's a little bit difficult to see some of that stuff in there, but you don't really need it, and it's got it all laid out here. Now, one thing he's done great, of course, too, is give us the actual page numbers for each of these places, such as the Holy Whisper or the Pilgrims, and so you can just go straight to that page. Some very useful design choices in this book, and here's some more of that art. So it's not technically like precise, but I do enjoy kind of the easy, quick kind of water paint flow of it. I think I enjoy it. I can see how some people may not like it that much. So you're going to have all the different locations in the port city right from that map there, such as the Palace of the Governor. Really great descriptions of what's going on there. And then he does a great job with the stats of the NPCs, of telling you little tiny things they may have. Maybe an item that is poisonous or has a certain power. A lot of his NPCs they're not just cardboard cutouts. They do have some depth to them, a lot of desires. A lot of things that drive them, all within the small section of their stats and their write-up. And it doesn't take up a huge amount of space, and it's going to go through each one of those places. There is a lot of art in this book, and that's one thing I'll give it, again, kudos for. So, again, great write-ups on the people that you may come across. Here is a neat one, this one here, the harbor. There's some people you can rent out if you need to retain them. And they have different things they say here, like interpreter or a dealer or a fighter, and they all have something that really gives them life and makes them kind of flesh with some interesting desires or just things that they want to do or accomplish, or hidden goals and secrets that they have. So there's a lot there that you can choose from. And it's very helpful. You can actually use these maybe if you wanted to whenever your character dies, because I will say, much like his other releases, it is deadly. I don't believe that it is that Limitations of Flynn Princess, like Doom, like you're never going to survive type thing, but it is challenging. I think there is much like he had with his last release. I think it was Winter Death. There was a lot of good. Or maybe it was Baphomet's Son. It had a lot of nasty traps, and this continues on with that those great traps that he's kind of known for, in my opinion, now. So again, some really cool art, a lot of cool things going on behind the scenes. I wish I could sit here and tell you all of them, but there's just so much going on with it. The pilgrims here are French pilgrims. They're actually werewolves, and they're trying to stay next to an item that is keeping them from changing into werewolves. And that could be a whole adventure unto itself. It's so layered with so much cool plot hooks all over the book, on every page, that it's really impressive. I like it a lot. There's a lot of Almurzi, all sorts of words and names you're going to have to try to say. It would have been nice if there was phonetically how you said them, but that's fine. You can just say it. I've always said that in my other videos. Just say it and just run with it. Just as long as you keep using the same word. So the Great Bazaar is a cool place here, a fortune teller, a perfume merchant. Again, a lot of these people may have stuff that you can use in one of the adventures. They've got secret little plots and schemes. So that's pretty neat. Here is the hospital. And so this is a neat section. Again, strong NPCs. I really like the art for the NPCs, the way they look. Palace of the Patriarch. That's cool. There is a Coptic church that's there. You have this tea house. A lot of interesting characters are there as well. It's a place maybe you can go and get some information. So yeah, and this is great. You're gonna be referencing these sections a lot, especially in the beginning when the players are going to say, oh, well, our characters are going to go and explore and take a look at the bazaar. They're going to take a look over here. This fella Malik right here is a big NPC involved in a lot of the adventure stuff. So you need to really make him come alive. And this is where if you're strong at making NPCs, he's giving you some really cool NPCs with a lot of neat drive and personality. So a bathhouse, and see, he's done a lot of great stuff here. Interest to level 6-7 of the dungeon, page 152. So he really sends you to where you need to go. That's very helpful, and I enjoy that a lot. Serviceable maps. They're not going to knock your socks off, but they work and they're easy to understand. I never had any problem understanding the maps because there is a lot of movement in the map, especially of the dungeon, where there might be an entrance to this level of the dungeon, and then this staircase might take you down to a different level of the dungeon. So a lot of stuff like that is going on in it. And you've got your first adventure here, the Lamp of Al-Murmur. And it's a good start to it. There's a lot of NPCs that need you to go do stuff since you are not from that area, and you're not part of kind of the factions that are working within Alexandria. A lot of people want to use you to go do what they need to get done. The mummy trade is huge in this city. There's a lot involving the mummies and trying to get their bodies. And because their bodies, they're making them into a drug. And there's rules, of course, for understanding that drug. And it's very neat. It's a very cool thing to think about going in there and try to get these mummies. So right here, this is a good example of showing you what he's done. So he's got the maps, and then it says here, the garden, and then it gives you just a brief sentence of what that is so that you don't have to delve all the way into its actual section. And then it shows you the page number, so that's helpful again. So I like that. That's very helpful, just as a quick look to say, oh yeah, this is what's in here, or this is what's going on in that place. So again, very helpful in that respect. At first, when I looked at it, I said, you know what, this doesn't seem to have a whole bunch of encounters, and I'm not seeing a whole bunch of monsters, but whoa, that changes. That definitely changes. There are a lot of encounters, opportunity for combat, and things like that. This is a neat adventure with trying to find this magic lamp. And you may say, oh, that's kind of, it's kind of generic, but it's not. It has a lot more going on to it. And a lot of people, again, they need you to do stuff for them. The Mummy Hunt Adventure 2 is, I think, really, really cool. It's very small. You say, whoa, that's very small. But the thing about this is it's going to pretty much explain to you how you need to try to go get mummies down into the catacombs. And that's going to lead you on a bunch of dungeon crawling. And it's also a race. It's a race against the clock, so that kind of keeps it going. And you're going to have to manage some time blocks. And doing certain things are going to take up those blocks for you to be able to get these mummies out of there. There is a lot of cool magic involved in this book, in this campaign, as well as, once again, his magical items. Some of them are just so interesting and have such a wicked effect here and there. A lot of them are cursed. A lot of the curses are neat, or just how they interact with you. There's a kind of a give and take with them, but I'm always enjoy reading his magical items because he definitely thinks outside the box of their really some cool ideas, some cool beneficial stuff, but boy, you got to pay the price for it. And then Ritual in the Depths. So this is a neat adventure here, and this is a big one. As you can see, there's a lot of NPCs. This is your strong role-playing adventure, where you're going to be doing a ton. You're going to pretty much get an invitation into kind of a party, and there's going to be a lot of NPCs there. And one of the people they've hired you, and that's the thing too. Sometimes there's multiple factions that can hire you kind of for one adventure, and so you can kind of pit those factions against each other. You can backstab them, be a traitor, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of choice in this campaign, and this is an adventure. I think if you are a strong game master that can really run NPCs, and you've got players that really enjoy getting into their character and delving into this kind of subterfuge of this party. Stuff that we've seen in other, maybe movies and stuff like that. You have all these NPCs to interact with. They all have very unique goals, and the way that they carry themselves. The guests here, and it's one thing that's cool is it shows you their appearance. It shows them the topics that they may chat about. It's like they chats about hideous crimes she commits in her dreams. That's what she talks about. And then there's something special about her. She's a member of the coven that worships the Hyena demon. So it's neat. You can get kind of an insight into these people, especially how to run them when it comes to topics they may bring up in conversation. So really cool. It does have a schedule and a timeline going for it because it is a party of things going on. You can try to slip away and do some other things, of course. A very detailed maps here with a lot of rooms if you're going to go explore while this stuff is going on at this party. So it's just got a lot of stuff. You could actually do this one maybe without any combat whatsoever. There is opportunity, obviously, for subterfuge and combat. Great role playing. It is going to be for people who like NPCs, running them, and having a real deep role playing experience. This is going to be the adventure in the book that I'm so glad he added. And it's not just a dungeon crawl. It's got a lot of other stuff going on to it. As you can see, it's a massive part of the book here when it comes to the adventure pages here. And there is some neat magical items. Then we have the house in the clouds. This is kind of a topsy-turvy, interesting kind of exploration of a house that is in the clouds, like it says. Again, we've got his great description here of each of the rooms. You're going to have to try to get up into that house that is in the sky, and a lot of cool exploration here with some strange stuff. And there are just a lot of traps. And some people that might be too much for them. So I wouldn't put that in a negative column, but it definitely people guard their stuff, and they know that in this city of thieves and vault and tomb robbers, that they have got to hide their stuff. Hide it well and still put a trap on it. So thieves are going to be paramount, or specialists, whatever you would like to call them, whatever game you're using. You're going to need a real strong one with some good luck on their hands to be able to not get poison, electricity, darts, gas in the face, acid. You never know what's going to hit you, and there is a ton of it. But then some really neat rewards. A lot of treasure is in this for those that are able to find it and get it. And then we've got Adventure 5. This is the Hyena Child. And this is where it's a prophecy thing that's going to be happening. It is, it can, like any of these adventures can be the focus of your campaign. But this is one, obviously, that's what it's named after. There is a cult that is, Hyena Child is going to be born. The signs and everything has aligned up for that. And this is where you're going to really be trying to delve deep into the catacombs. There's going to be a ritual for this child to be born. And you're going to have to go down there, and you may not be hired to stop it. You may just be hired to record who's in this cult. Again, the city is very kind of cutthroat with its factions, and that's what's going to that's really their focus, but you could also probably stop it with your swords and your magic and stuff like that. Here is the catacombs, all the maps, and of course the maps will be in this section here, but it shows you how they all are. Again, you're going to need to have a good sense of direction about where stuff is when it comes to the catacombs. I love this piece of paper here, this page, because it says like the adventure, the lamp adventure, and it says page 34, and then how is it connected to any of the other dungeon levels. So this is really useful, and so use this a bunch. One thing is cool is that level 8, okay, right here, is actually, you have to do something magical in order to even find this level 8. And there's, of course, hints throughout the campaign to explain to you how you need to get to it. It's not really relevant to any of the adventures, but it's just another really cool section to delve into and to plunder the riches that are there. And then it's going to go into each of the different levels, as you can see here. So there's a lot of maps, a lot of different rooms. He's done a great job at pointing you to where you need to go. Tons of gold, tons of silver, a lot of mummies to be found. A lot of interesting NPCs are down here too. There's actually a gladiator pit down here as well. Tombs of the Mummies. This is where all this is just full of mummies. And there's going to be ways to get a lot of those out in one of the adventures there. You've got this sanctuary here, a very large map right there. This is almost like a mini. It's a mini mega dungeon, is what it is. With all, and there was a point where I was just like, my goodness, he wrote a ton of stuff as I'm going through here. All these different levels. It's got to be his most challenging of the books that he's written. But boy, I think it really does pay off. Again, interesting puzzles that are in here, neat treasures. It all feels distinct, each of the different levels. They're not extremely wild and crazy like Stonehell, but they definitely have a groove going on to each one of the levels, and I really enjoy that. Here's only level 5, and look how much is here. So Ancient Tombs, big one again here. Collapsed tunnels. There's a lot of stuff that's going to fall on you, pit traps, things like that. They're going to try to kill you. You may go through some characters with this. I don't know. Especially if you start off, I think, at first level, there's going to be a lot of death involved in this. A simple trap or something is going to kill you. So it just keeps going, and I was just very, very impressed. Here's a temple here that you can see. This is where the fighting arena is. There are a lot of NPCs down here with one of the factions. So again, while you're still going through a dungeon crawl, all of a sudden there's a great opportunity to have some really great role-playing moments with your group. I think that's strong. You don't see that a whole bunch with a lot of dungeons. Here's the cultist's hideout right here. This is where a lot of it's going to go down with the Hyena Child adventure. And I will say this is probably where I think I was a little bit disappointed in it, only because I assumed, and this is probably for my DCC type stuff, because they like to do a lot of stuff like that too. I thought there was going to be some kind of big bad thing at the end, some sort of monster, demon that was summoned up. It's not really in here. As you are looking at this, trying to stop or record who's in part of this ritual, I just thought there would be something kind of hyena monster demon that you're going to fight. Now you could add that to it. Obviously, maybe one of the cultists, if you stop the ritual, the hyena god is angry and is able to like corrupt his body into a big hyena demon that you could do. And I was kind of expecting that, and it didn't happen, and I found it slightly disappointing. So that's just my little tidbit to you there. If you do want that big boss battle at the end, that's what I would do. And then we have the big level 8, the Forgotten Tombs. It's a little bit different the way this map works. It's not exactly like a side cutout of the map. It says here it's a rough outline to so you can get your orientation going on when you're running it. But this has got some really cool stuff in it too, right there. And then you're gonna have a great section here on the factions with each one of the people, what their goals are. They're all kind of pitted against each other. Some of them actually have some interesting kind of how they came to be, with maybe some strange entities. The governor, servants of the hyena, the patriarch, the pilgrims, those of course. And then look at this. This is a great section here. It has all the NPCs from these factions. The most important ones, obviously, right here. Then you've got rumors. There's no like true or false, so take that at what you will. And then you've got some random encounters by day and random encounters by night. Now, one thing I'll say is that there is a lot of variety here. And it's not just like, oh, you run across a guy that wants to kill you. There's some interesting stuff here that really changes it up. And a lot of them as well, again, have some great role-playing aspects to them, if you want those. This is going to explain to you about the mummia, I think it's called, and this is the drug that they're making out of these mummies. So you can be addicted to them. It's got some great abilities if you want to take the drug. You just may become addicted to it, and that's really bad. There's a lot of stuff in this that's like long-term bad in this game. Be it stats are down, maybe you get aged, maybe you are hunted by there's a lot of curses, obviously, in this. So those are going to come back to haunt you. And then I like this, Alexandria between history and fiction, explaining about the actual history of it. And then you got the prophecies of Al-Majun, I think the name is, and this is kind of like ushering in the Hyena Child in that story. And then at the end here, we've got all of our artifacts, our strong magical items here with their pages. Again, very helpful. I did not have a PDF of this, and I just absolutely loved actually cracking open this book, turning the light on, and just delving into it. I feel like you get a better sense of it when you have it like that. I like these human skin gloves. There's a lot of really neat magical items here. He always excels at those. So there it is, Hyena Child. I think it is both beginner friendly, but it is also extremely advanced Game Master friendly too, where they can just take this, run with those NPCs, really create some interesting moments with bringing those NPCs to life. It gives the players and their characters a lot of opportunity to not only explore, to get magical items, to kill stuff, but to also really interact with those NPCs and have some cool role-playing game type of moments. And that's what I think really is its strength, is how all the adventures are kind of together and how they work, how you can kind of be doing multiple ventures at one time, kind of working those all together, and how everything's kind of layered on itself with the factions and all the options you have, be it to be a traitor, to follow these guys, to work against those guys, who approaches you first, what seems enticing to you. A lot of the monetary rewards are the same with the factions, so it's not like there's something that's imbalanced where you're like, of course I'm going to go with these guys. Some of the stuff that if you do side with that faction, this other faction will pretty much hunt you down until you're dead, and that's detrimental to you, of course. So it's just a really strong, layered campaign with some great dungeon crawling and great role-playing opportunities. So I think he's knocked it out of the park. Like I said, there's just a couple things here and there that I mentioned that I wish were just a little bit different, but this obviously took him a ton of time and effort to work on, and I think he's just absolutely done a great job on it. I cannot recommend this more if you are a Limitations of the Flame Princess player or any other OSR type game. You're going to get a lot of content for its 200 pages, as you could see. Just using it as a pure, if you want to say, you know what, I'm just going to do like a pure Egyptian kind of dungeon crawl, just use the dungeon and go with it like that. My players are not big into role-playing, strong NPC interactions. But if you have a group that does all that stuff, you can really have a lot of sessions with this, really delve into Alexandria, and, really bolster it up. You can go look for other products that are, set in desert type lands to go exploring out of it. Bring it back into Alexandria with your kind of headquarters there. Work with your factions and just have an awesome time with this book. So again, kudos to Marcus. He's done a fantastic job, and I'm so appreciative of him sending this to me. I'm so glad he sent it to me. I'm really impressed by it. So there it is. There is Hyena Child. Thank you so much for everybody who's been subscribing to the channel. Like I said, over 2,000 subscribers. It's just very impressive. I can't believe it's gotten like that. Please share this wherever you may find it. Comment. When I put this up, if you think it's cool, if you think it's lame, whatever, comment. We're fighting that algorithm just so that people can see it. It gets buried. There's a lot of struggling time here with kind of role-playing game YouTube channel. So if you can, help me out here and pass the word on about this. Let me know what you think about it. And stay tuned for my next video. It'll hopefully be soon again. And I've got hopefully some big stuff to tell you about in the future for the channel and myself. So thank you once again for your support all these years. And stay tuned to the next video. Thank you.